Good morning. Thank you, Bob, for that introduction. Let me begin by echoing Administrator Szabo's gratitude to everyone here today for coming together on such short notice for this emergency session. I would also like to add my special thanks to Transport Canada's Director General for Rail Safety, Mr. Luc Bourdeau, for joining us today. On the one hand, while I am delighted to make my maiden voyage before such an august group of rail aficionados, I am saddened that we are gathered here today on such a solemn occasion. Director General Bourdeau, I send my deepest regrets to those in Lac-Megantic, Quebec, and all of Canada for the great losses that your community has suffered because of the recent tragic incident. Our collective responsibility today is to ensure that an event like this is never repeated. We have a solemn duty to not only learn from what happened in Lac-Megantic and apply those lessons learned to our safety regulations and practices, we also need to thoroughly evaluate and identify risks associated with the bulk movements of high hazards such as crude oil, and use our expertise to anticipate the next tragedy before it occurs, to do our best to make sure that it doesn't occur. We at the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration work with our sister agencies such as FRA to protect people and the environment from hazardous material risks in every mode of transportation, including motor vehicle, airplane, ship, pipeline, and of course railroads. Most of what we do is intended to prevent incidents by setting and enforcing national standards for safety, conducting inspections, training and educating hazardous materials shippers and carriers, but we also prepare the public and emergency responders to reduce consequences in the unlikely event of a hazardous material incident. With nearly 1 million shipments of hazardous materials every day, most of them reach their destination safely. The number of incidents are a minute percentage of the overall number of hazardous material movements occurring. And over the past 25 years, the incidents involving death or major injury have been steadily declining. It's a great record. However, bulk shipments of high hazards continue to pose a risk of a high consequence catastrophic event such as the one in Lac-Megantic. That's why we're here today, because we must be ever vigilant in continuously improving our safety system by identifying and closing any safety gaps. People often ask me in this job, what keeps you up at night? An incident like the one that occurred in Quebec is really one of my nightmares. We at DOT are determined to use all means necessary to ensure that an incident like the one in Lac-Megantic does not occur here. We're looking to you to help us keep that commitment. Together, we need to focus on identifying the appropriate type and quantities of hazardous materials that warrant special handling. That includes issues such as attendance, securement, crew sizes, safety and security planning. But we don't want to unnecessarily circumscribe what you do here today. We want your collective expertise to think beyond the Quebec incident to ensure that we have considered all foreseeable risks. As all of you know, ensuring and improving hazardous material safety on our nation's railroads requires dedication and hard work by many, including everyone in this room. My agency will soon seek public comment on how to enhance the safe transportation of hazardous material by rail, including changes to the design of the DOT 111 tank cars. Changes to the tank car standards, however, are doubtless not enough because no tank car can be built and used that could withstand some of the tragic incidents that have occurred. We must also consider operational issues associated with the rail movement of high hazards, such as the ones that are being considered here today. But we must include in that discussion, as we move forward, issues such as rail car placement and buffer car standards. We need to answer some tough questions about the existing fleet of rail tank cars that are used to carry crude, as well as the adequacy of the standard that is being proposed. Rest assured that whatever we do, we will do it collaboratively. However, we can't wait. The volume of crude oil moving by rail in this country has quadrupled in less than a decade. As greater quantities of hazmat are transported by rail, the risks increase, and we have to make sure that our regulations and practices keep pace with the market and new technology. We have to identify safety gaps and close them. I recently made a trip to the Bakken region, where oil production has doubled over a 3-year period. There are hundreds of trucks and lots of new rail facilities moving product that I had the opportunity to see. I observed DOT's safety regulations at work. Now is the time to ensure that our hazardous materials safety requirements are prepared for the future. We need your expertise to help us on this important mission. There are more hazardous materials moving by rail today than ever. Let's make sure we keep our proud tradition, your proud record of having the safest and most effective railways in the world. Thank you.